Once I realized this, my whole pickleball game changed.
Instead of excuses, we learned something about pickleball that changed our whole game. All right, tell me more about what you learned, Carrie.
Well, we have two circles, what we can control and what we can't control. I think the first thing is the weather conditions. Is it windy? Is it sunny? Those are the two things. Can I control that? Absolutely not.
No.
Not when I'm playing outdoors. The sun and the wind. So I cannot control the sun and I cannot control the wind.
Also, when we play outdoors, we can't control the light. So if you're playing at dusk, it will get darker. It will be hard to see. And when you play under lights, you will complain about the lights because they're never going to be as bright as the daytime. That is under the category for me of excuses. One way is to put it into this circle. Another way is to acknowledge it and then realize we have no control over that. So how can we use it to our advantage?
Well, one way is to talk about it or not talk about it, and that's controlling what's coming out of my mouth. If I can't see the ball, I'm not going to say, I can't see the ball.
I think people feel better when they keep saying something repeatedly that they can't control. I don't think it goes away, but I don't know why. It makes them feel better for some reason. That's in my, why are you keep talking about it category?
Excuses, because they just missed the ball.
Right.
Rather than accepting it and going on.
They don't want to blame themselves, that's for sure. So it must have been the lights. It must have been, or the wind. In fact, if you go back to our days on coaching high school tennis, we played at a very windy facility. Our school ground was really, really windy most afternoons. And we weren't allowed to say the W word, or that's what my rule was for the team. We could acknowledge it, but the other teams, as they came to play us, they were freaking out about the wind. So that W word got mentioned once and then we forgot about it. But we knew which way it was blowing most of the time, and we knew what we would have to do for our shots to be the ones in charge of something that's uncontrollable.
Right. Here at our facility, the wind is coming at us at a diagonal. So what can we do with those shots? I'm certainly not going to be aiming that way because the ball's going to go out. I'm going to reframe where I'm actually going to be aiming the ball. So I can, uncontrollable, it's the wind. What can I control?
You can control your strategy around what the wind is doing. Since we already know by experience what to expect, we make that part of our strategy. We like hitting into the wind. We also know that they're going to be upset about the wind. So what we can control is that they're going to be out of control. We're going to expect that. And when you realize that, it makes you feel pretty good. It makes you feel really smart as far as the strategy goes. What else can't we control?
Well, we can't control our partner. We can't control our opponents.
We can't control the level of either one of them either. So if we are playing with a partner that's weaker or better than us, or even the same, we can't control that. We can add communication to try to soften it so that we have more understanding about who our partners and our opponents are. I remember playing pickleball matches where the opponent said to me, "Why didn't you tell me you're left-handed?" I said, "Well, because I already know I'm left-handed." You may not. That's something that's also controllable and uncontrollable. You don't know which hand paddle somebody's holding. Take a look. Use your eyes. They shouldn't have to tell you. You should be able to be aware of those kind of things.
So under the controllables is your partner is making mistakes. Your partner is blaming things. How can you control that? It's with I statements. So you're not saying, what are you doing wrong? Why aren't you? You can turn it around and say, the wind is kind of messing with the ball, but I'm simply reframing, and then walk away. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm putting out my solution at a very soft, easy I statement. If they listen to it, fine. If they don't, that's okay too.
Well, along with that, I say you don't have to apologize. If somebody is upset about missing something and they keep saying, I'm sorry, I'll mention, don't apologize. So we're going to own it together. We're going to be a team, and there's not two I's on that team, though. There's not two U's. There is a we. And so if you get a good partnership, it's understanding what your partner is going through so they can admit to you, I'm having trouble seeing the ball. I'm having trouble with which way the wind is going, and maybe we can help each other try to figure it out together. So that's another part that you can control.
And you see that's modeling. That's modeling the conversation with a doubles partner. What else can we control? Our effort. That's it. We can control our effort. That's it right there. So if we can control how we are trying 100% of the time, there is no excuse. There is no sorry. The only time I'm ever going to say sorry on the court is actually if I hit somebody with my paddle or the ball. I'm sorry. Here's where I've turned it around. When I make a mistake, instead of saying I'm sorry, I'm going to say my mistake. I'm not even going to say my bad. I don't like the word bad. It's my mistake. I owned it and I go on.
I think even going one step further, when there's a timeout or a changeover or whatever break you might have in between games, I think we can say what I've figured out is that I've been missing many balls in the net, so I'm going to try to get it higher over the net. So that you end with the positive sort of tweak or how you're going to make adjustments. So yes, we all make mistakes, but we don't want to make the same mistake over and over and over. So that's where we do have a little more control of trying to make some adjustments, because we will make mistakes. But if we keep trying to find a solution, that actually becomes a positive.
And that's under the controllable. Can we still continue finding the solution even though there are mistakes along the way? So I can control, I'm dead set on finding solutions until the last point. And Yogi Bear said, it ain't over till it's over, right?
Well, in agreement with that, I remember beating somebody very badly, and I was looking for some acknowledgement from her on the changeovers that she was giving up, that she was going to let me win the match. And she remained positive the entire time, and I didn't get any of that feedback either with body language or by her words. And ultimately, she hung in there long enough that I then crumbled and lost the match. So she remained positive. Can we put that in the controllable or uncontrollable?
I would say that would be the controllable.
Absolutely.
Remain positive even when.
Even when. So it's not that you're delusional, but sometimes that reinforcement of I can get better, I can figure this out. I'm not going to let the circumstance for right this minute control myself or my attitude. So we can control attitude, we can control effort, but we can't control what our partner's response to that is, other than let's say positive, good try, all those kind of comments.
So you said it. We can't control our partner's response. All right? Cannot control. So that would be uncontrollable, right?
Right.
It's also a double negative. Control partner's response.
And what do partners and opponents have control over? They have control over what they call a line like. So that means if the ball is in or out. So if I call the ball in and you call the ball out, we then have to acknowledge that we've made a different opinion on the shot. We have to give that point to the opponent. There is no do-over. We don't replay the point. If we can't agree, it's the opponent's point. So we can't control line calls. Similar, if they're calling balls close to the line, as we phrase it, they're calling close calls. We can't control that other than saying, are you sure? And then moving on. I have come unglued so many times I can't even tell you when I see line calls being missed. But I remember that people aren't good at calling lines until they practice it a lot. And many pickleball players haven't played other games. They may be new to pickleball and realize that this ball is bouncing very quickly. And you have to really see the space between the line when a ball is out. So how do we get over that? We can't control the line calls from the opponent's side. What do we do about that then, Carrie?
Well, we practice it just like when we miss a forehand or we practice a forehand or we practice a volley. We practice our line calls and also give our opponents the benefit of the doubt because they are also making mistakes just like we are. And it happens to be in the referee situation. This is not professional pickleball. We have nobody else but our eyes. And if they're running after a ball and they're trying to swing and they're trying to get...
And their eyes are jiggling as well.
Right. Do you think that there might be a mistake there?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
And so sometimes in pickleball, if you call the ball too early, it will change directions because of the wind or the fact that the ball has holes in it. So we can't control sometimes what our equipment will, and that's part of the equipment on sports court or a pickleball court is the ball. We can't control the ball.
Now, here comes another one. We can control knowing the rules. And the rules state the ball must bounce and then we call the ball out. So when people call the ball before it bounces, they might not know that that's a rule. That's a real rule.
Right.
So we can control knowing the rules. Really difficult.
Well, I think this is a great start of a conversation, Carrie. And in part 2, we're going to go over more controllables and uncontrollables. We're trying to get rid of are the excuses. Hang in there with us because we're going to cover more mental toughness on how to be on the court.
And at this point, we have 8 controllables and we have 7 uncontrollables. So as you can see, you could go all over the map. This is really fun. And then you take this into your real life, things are so much easier.
Stay tuned for part 2. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time talking about controllables and uncontrollables.
Boom.